What day is today? It's teacher talk day. That's teaching with children. Let's all have some cake. Yeah, I know this isn't what y'all normally come here for, but I got to do a consult today that I'm very excited about, so I'm going to share it with you. I know enough of you have kids that this is going to be relevant to some of you. So a woman in a Facebook group says that her 6-year-old son is getting distant with family members in a way that could be considered rude and disrespectful, as in doesn't want to play with his grandma, just wants to watch TV, isn't responding when spoken to by certain family members, and she is concerned. She thinks it might be depression, she's looking into therapy, she wants to know if anyone in this group that I'm in has thoughts. Obviously no names, because none of y'all's business. This is what my first career was in. The career that I started when I was 17 and was in until I was 25, 26. So yeah, let's do it. I specialized in emotional behavioral disorders and social skills education. First of all, any kid getting access to a therapist, good call, I think. Second of all, I wouldn't necessarily assume that it is depression. I would want to rule out some other things first. Honestly, this is raising some red flags for me, so I would just want some data. So going forward, this is assuming that no one in the family is harming the child, but the diagnostic steps that I am suggesting will likely let you know if somebody is. You always want to check for that. Don't come at me that like, oh no, my would never. No, you always check. So first off, you're going to make sure that whenever they are coming away from a visit with these family members, that you ask some specific types of check-in questions. I would also suggest doing this honestly any time that your kid is away from you. That'll help you get a broader baseline of data. Rather than asking a kid like, did you have a good time, or was it nice? Because then you'll often have kids who feel this pressure to be a good kid and not say anything even if they didn't like it because they want to be polite. You want to ask concrete questions. At 6, a kid is very concrete, so definitely a good thing to be concrete with these questions. My suggestions are, what was your favorite part of your visit? What was your least favorite part of your visit? What is one thing that you would definitely like to do again on your visit or next time that you visit? What is one thing that you wish you could have changed about your visit or that you will change the next time you visit? Whatever they say, you don't freak out. You're gonna yes and this, so ask for elaboration, give positive feedback non-verbally, like, yes, If they express a difficulty, you're going to say, oh, that sounds feeling word. That's teacher talk time. 6-year-old kiddo, not responding when people are talking to him, this is extended family members, specifically is not wanting to play with grandma, just wants to watch TV. I've already established that you need to be checking in to get more data because this could be anything. Honestly, it's throwing some red flags. And whatever the kid tells you when you do your concrete check-in, because 6-year-olds are very concrete, you are going to respond neutral positive. This is rewarding the kid for letting you know what's going on, no matter what they say, even if it's nothing at first. And it's also creating a safe space for them to tell you things. Even if they tell you something terrifying or rude, you're not going to be like, oh, don't say that, no. You're going in with a yes and. You're going to be asking for elaboration or asking, oh, why do you feel that way? Or, oh, could you tell me more about that? If you feel like there needs to be any kind of judgment statement, you are going to say, whoa, it sounds like that was really rough for you, or oh, it sounds like that was a frustrating situation, or oh, it sounds like maybe you feel like this, am I in the ballpark? This is both teaching your very concrete young child to process their emotions by processing them out loud with you and being gentle with them so they'll be gentle with themselves. And it also is teaching them that you are someone they can go to tell the really scary stuff to. If you freak out, if you give like a big emotional reaction to things, they're not going to tell you shit. Just to kind of make this more of a self-contained thing, because I don't necessarily want to jump into the next one in the middle of this. Those questions again are going to be, Not, did you have a nice time? Did you have fun? It's going to be, what was your favorite part of your visit? What was your least favorite part of your visit? What is one thing you would have changed about your visit? Or what is one thing that you would like to do differently next time you visit? What was one thing that you hope you get to do again from your visit? Or what is one thing you definitely want to do during your next visit? These are designed to circumvent typical grooming things that people will use to get kids to keep secrets. You also want to respect their privacy about things, but it's something where just it'll help. And it'll also help unearth things like if they're not necessarily being groomed or hurt, but they're just uncomfortable. The goal is to teach them how to advocate for themselves and work within the social contract, while also respecting their bodily autonomy so that we're not telling them, you just have to do things sometimes that you don't want to because it's polite, because that feeds into grooming. And then no matter what, even if they say, I don't want to talk about it, you reward the fact that they said anything at all, and that'll encourage them to say more next time. Don't badger and pester them. You say, okay, well, thanks for checking in with me about this. I appreciate the chance to know how you're feeling. More teacher talk time. 6-year-old kiddo described as being distant with extended family members, specifically with grandma, doesn't want to play with grandma, just wants to watch TV, is not responding when spoken to. Parent thinks it might be depression. My first suggestion was to get more data by establishing a check-in protocol, which I talked about in the last 2 videos. It could very well be depression, we can talk about what to do about that, but it could also be that there's an external stimulus that is bothering this kid. Doesn't necessarily have to be something scary like grooming, although this does throw those flags. Always check. But it could also just be that something about what's going on with that family member is uncomfortable or upsetting to the kid. If they receive unpleasant stimulation, it's perfectly natural to shy away from that. It could be that the kind of playing that she wants to do is not enjoyable for the kid or is annoying for the kid. It could be that it's overstimulating or that the energy doesn't work for them. It could also be that the extended family members in particular have an energy type that is unpleasant or overstimulating for the kid. The fact that they're wanting to watch TV strikes me that maybe they're trying to decompress or zone out or have something that is less directly engaging. Again, I can't know without more data, but those are just my general thoughts. If the data backs that up, then I would definitely use this as an opportunity to practice self-advocacy and bodily autonomy. You don't want to be telling this kid that, well, you have to do this because an adult authority figure tells you to. That goes to a bad place. If you've established that the child is not likely being groomed through your check-in protocol, don't assume without data, then you're going to be in a situation where you can concretely tell them that there is a social contract that we all agree to where we will be a certain level of polite to each other because it makes it easier to interact with other people. And so there are ways that we can work within those rules and also get our own needs met and make sure that we're safe. That second part is deeply important. Then I would give them a script. Grandma, I know that you want to spend time with me because that's something that you enjoy and you want to have fun with me. I would not like to do this activity. Could we do this activity instead? This also works on teachers. It's something that I taught my students to do with gen eds. You'd say, Mr. R, I understand that I need to do this activity because it will teach me this given thing, or it will help me practice social skills, or it builds to classroom cohesion, but this activity is not working for me. Is there another activity I could do that will teach me the same things? More communication is never bad. This approach acknowledges the social contract and the goal of the activity while also respecting bodily autonomy and throwing a giant wrench in any grooming. We want to keep kids safe. More teacher talk time. We're discussing teaching the concept of the social contract while also teaching explicit bodily autonomy in the context of a 6-year-old who does not want to engage with extended family members, specifically is not responding when spoken to by these family members, and does not want to play with grandma, just wants to watch TV. We already talked about gathering data to figure out why this is going on through establishing a supportive check-in protocol. We also covered the idea that this is a good time to talk about the social contract in a way that will not feed into grooming because it centers in bodily autonomy. You need to understand that the other adult authority figures in their life are likely not going to respond super great, even if the kid is very respectful about saying, I recognize the need for this activity is distressing for me, which honestly could even just mean this activity is boring for me, but can I do something else? A lot of adults will see this as back-talking or as a kid being uppity, especially older family members or teachers. I dealt with this all the time as a special educator with gen eds and admin. So what I would do is I would get ahead of that. I would contact the adult authority figures in your child's life if you decide to implement this protocol, and I would let them know that you are teaching your child about the social contract and also about respecting their own needs and bodily autonomy and advocating for themselves. Use those jargon words with teachers. That will unlock some things. Let them know the specific script so that if the kid deviates from the script, the teacher or other person can help support them, or if the kid is struggling, they can feed them the script too, so that it'll be kind of wraparound support. More words you can use to make them listen to you. But also be very clear that this is what you expect, this is what you support your kid doing, and so if you find out that your kid has done the things that they are supposed to do and still been met with crush them down discipline, that you will be taking an issue with it. They are your child, and even if this is a teacher, even if this is your parent, they can sit down and shut up. If a teacher says that they have an issue with this, then no, be loud, make noise. If they try to say that this is too much work with their classroom management, they can learn a new way. If they hassle you too much, contact me and I will write an official-looking letter from an expert on child development telling them to sit down and shut up. If your parent's like, oh, that's newfangled, your parent has two options. They can either interact with your kid in a way that is healthy, supportive, and works with your parenting plan, or they can have less time with the kid. It may also take an adjustment period for you, but the best place to practice this is at home. You've got this. If the idea of explaining bodily autonomy and the social contract and this protocol to the teachers in your child's life is daunting, you can just show them this. Hey y'all. So I'm a special educator who focuses in emotional behavioral disorders and also teaching social skills. If you're a gen ed and your eyes just glazed over because you're like, oh god, I'm gonna have to do a million other things, no, I'm here to make your job easier and this kid's life easier. I'm working with the parents so that they can explain the social contract to the kid. All you've got to do is support the protocol they put in place. The end goal is that we're teaching a replacement behavior so that the kid can actually communicate their needs to you instead of acting out just because they're frustrated. You should be hearing a very specific script. In fact, I would suggest putting a copy of the script on the kid's desk or in the kid's sightline so you can point to it if the kid starts acting out of frustration. It might sound like, Miss T, I know we have to do this activity because it's teaching us math, but I'm really frustrated with it, or I find it boring, or I'm really tired, or I think I'm hungry. Anything where the first step is that they need to acknowledge why the activity is important. If they jump straight to the next step of like, I don't like this, you can remind them that they need to acknowledge why the activity is important, or you can prompt, do you know why we're doing this activity? And then y'all can discuss why it's happening. The second step is for them to say, is there another way that I can learn this without doing it this way? That could also mean like, could I do this later after I've had a snack? Could I have a snack now? Could I have a nap now? Could I get a jacket? Like other things if it's a sensory issue. If it's a thing where the material's too frustrating, it could mean, could I do this activity with additional supports that help me? Or it could mean that they're asking if they can do a completely different activity. You may say, oh my god, but if every kid can ask that, then everyone's going to want their own specialized thing. You know what, I'm gonna level with you, you're the teacher and I'm gonna help you with this, but that's not the kid's problem, it's your problem, it's my problem. And it's also valid for you to say, I recognize your concern, I appreciate you letting me know, I don't have an alternative activity for you right now. If we can find a way to do this activity now, I will work on making other future activities, ones that will work better for you. If it's not working for one kid, it's probably something that could work better for all the kids. And then just write it down in a notebook, but you have to follow through. God knows if you want help finding ways to modify, I will help you for free. It could be as simple as saying like, okay, can you do maybe the even numbers of this? Or can you do the first half of it and we'll look at maybe doing the second half later? Or you don't want to participate in this classroom activity, but can you sit in on it and you don't have to speak? Or you can watch the activity from over here, but you don't have to actually sit in circle and do it. If we've already explained to your kid's teacher that the social contract and bodily autonomy protocol would make classroom management easier for them and they're digging their heels in, this is for them. You don't have to like this, but you're still going to do it. These parents are prepared to raise hell over this. They will go to administration. They might contact the media. I understand that some teachers feel like their authority over the kids is what matters and that they need to run a classroom where the kids do what they're told when they're told and it's not about what the kid needs. That's gonna look real bad. I highly encourage you to get a BIP involved, get some behavioral measurement involved, make it official. But if you refuse to do this, then you are not giving the kid their least restrictive environment. You are refusing to use a universal modification that would help all the kids in your class. And you're also violating the Americans with Disabilities Act. I don't want to be a bitch to you, but I am going to be real hard and direct with you if you kick up a fuss about this. Now, this does not mean that a kid just gets to be like, oh, I don't want to do this, whatever they want. They don't get to be rude to you. We are teaching them a way that they can communicate their needs to you in a way that is scripted, accepted, and not rude. This is a gift to you. If you are not explaining why you are doing your classroom procedures to kids in a concrete way, then I think you should start and be honest with them. Not like, if I let you do this, then I have to let everyone do this. No, yeah, that's the point. Let all the kids do it. But it's okay to tell your kids that you need to do things with a certain amount of uniformity because it makes it easier to keep track of everyone and keep everyone safe. Kids aren't stupid even if they're 6. Get their buy-in in the process and help teach them things that will help them to not be groomed and victimized. I'm not advocating for a parent coming at you and saying like, oh, well, I told my kid that they can do this and that and you can't touch my kid. I mean, don't, but... And I'm also not advocating for the kid being like, oh, my mom says I don't have to do anything you say. Now, you and I both know that's some shit. Parents, I hope you're listening to this too. That is not what this is. This is a specific, scripted interaction to teach them how to communicate that feeling in a way that will help you, help your classroom, and help them going forward. You can be the teacher who supported bodily autonomy with their kids and helped protect them and help teach them how to advocate for themselves. Or you can be the teacher who helped child grooming. You know what that will do to your career. I do not play with this. And if the kid is being rude about it or trying to use it as an excuse to be rude, take them back to the protocol. Let them know that's not how you say that. Point them to the sentence script. This is how you need to say this. This is doable, so just stop it. Just stop. It's not that hard. And it's your job, so I really don't want to hear it. If you're watching this, it's because the parent of a child in your life is trying to teach that kid self-advocacy and bodily autonomy within the social contract, and they need to make sure that you get on board. These can be some abstract, nuanced concepts, and we're likely working with a young child who is very concrete, so it's important that all of the important adults in this kid's life are on the same page with how to respond to things and what to expect. You may say, oh, this sounds newfangled, new age, liberal, whatever. No, it's real simple and practical. By the way, I'm a special education teacher who specializes in emotional behavioral disorders and social skills instruction. Bodily autonomy just means that I have control about what happens to my body. We're teaching them this so that people can't groom them to hurt them later. I hope that's something we're all on board with. On the other hand, the social contract is this idea that you can't just be rude to people. You gotta be a certain level of nice in certain ways, or you gotta do certain things just to get along, just because otherwise it's really hard for people to interact on a regular basis. So this does not mean this child just gets to mouth off to you whenever they want. Instead, we're taking a situation where a child might normally act out, lash out, or withdraw, and we're teaching a replacement behavior so they can let you know what's going on and work with you to meet both of y'all's needs. And I'm going to be real clear here, you don't have to like this, but you are the adult and this is their child. So if you are not on board with this, you can get over it. They're a child. What you're likely to hear is the kids saying, I understand that you want to do this thing or you want me to do this thing for this reason. And so they need to start by acknowledging the reason why the activity is being done. And you can prompt this by saying, do you understand what I'm asking you to do? Do you understand why I'm asking you to do this? Why am I asking you to do this? And then they'll say, this activity doesn't work for me because, and they could say they're tired, hungry, bored, they just don't want to, they're overstimulated. They'll learn this over time. And you can also prompt them by saying, why doesn't this activity work for you? Or is this activity not working for you? And you can prompt them with suggestions. A lot of times they'll just be physically overwhelmed and they just may need to take a break or do a lower energy activity, or they may need to do a higher energy activity. Will there be something else we can do that will meet this need that also works for both of us? You're gonna have to be the bigger person here because you're the adult. I watched all of South Park just because that was the only thing that a kid liked, and I didn't like South Park because I'm the adult. If they use this to try to be rude, then you can always bring it back to the format. That's part of why this is there, so you can also communicate with them better. This is happening with or without you. Hello. If you're watching this, it's because your parents want to give you the option to let them and the other adults know in your life when you don't want to do something. It's called body, so that's your body. It's called autonomy. And autonomy just means that you have control over what happens to your body. A lot of people get really excited about this part because the idea is that you cannot be made to do things that are uncomfortable for you. But hold on, we also need to talk about something called the social contract. All that means is that we all have to be around each other, so we need to be a certain level of nice to each other. That doesn't mean you need to do something that makes you uncomfortable just because it's nice. It's something like picking up litter. It's something that goes out of your way, but we all agree to do it because it makes the world nicer. It's also something like putting away your toys or your activities when you're done with them so that they're not in everyone else's way, and so that they're easier to find. Another example is that people will try to be nice to you even when they're upset, and when they're upset, they should try to tell you, hey, I'm upset, I would like to take some space, that kind of thing. It just makes everything nicer. So we want to respect the fact that it's your body and no one can make you do things with it that are uncomfortable for you. But we also need to do this in a way that respects that we want to keep everything nice for everyone. The way you're going to do that is by starting to think, why does this person want me to do this thing? It could be they want to spend time with you. It could be they want to have fun and it would be fun for them. It could be they want you to learn something. It could be they want to practice social skills with you, practice how to interact with other people. And it could be that they are trying to do something to make their job easier, especially if they're a teacher. It may mean that it's for the safety of you and the other kids that they can keep an eye on everyone. You're going to let them know that you understand what they need, or you think you do. You'll say, I think you want me to do this activity because, and then you'll say why, and you'll ask, is that why you want me to do this? Then you'll say, I'm struggling with this activity, or this activity doesn't work for me because, and you'll explain that you're tired, you're hungry, you're feeling bored. You might say, I'm not engaged instead of bored, they like it better, or anything that's making you uncomfortable. You can even just say, I'm uncomfortable, and they should help you figure it out. Then you say, is there another activity I can do that will meet your need? They may not be able to, but it's worth a shot. Hi again. Last time your parents had me talk with you about body autonomy, so you're the boss of your body, and also the social contract, so we all agree to do some things just to keep things nice. Today we're going to talk about safety. Sometimes the reason an adult, especially a teacher, may ask you to do something that feels boring, like sitting still, staying quiet, doing the same thing that all the other kids are doing, is because it helps them keep you and the other kids safe. It probably makes things easier for the teacher to watch all of you and keep track of what's going on. I hope they'll tell you that's why they're doing it, but even if they don't, I know you're smart enough to remember this. And if you make their job easier on them, then they will probably be more likely to do nice things for you. This is also why we have a way to say things to adults. It's like magic words. If you say things the right way, they are probably going to try to help you. If you just go up and say, "I'm the boss of my body, you can't make me do anything," they're probably not going to help you. I hope they will, but they might not. So again, we say, "I think you want me to do this activity because I am struggling with this activity because is there something else I can do to meet your needs?" If they react badly, ask to talk to another adult. Now, if an adult or another kid ever asks you to do something that is not safe or that is uncomfortable for you, if they ask you to do something with your body, if they ask you to do something with their body, if they ask to show you something, or if they ask for you to show them something, and you are not comfortable with that, then you can do the same thing. Why do you want me to do this? They may tell you that it's fun, or it's a game, or that you'll like it. I don't like this game. I am not comfortable with this. This is not fun for me. Can we do something else? If they pressure you or they suggest another thing that is also uncomfortable and dangerous, you just say, "I don't want to play with you." If they react badly, get an adult. Get 3 adults. A parent or family member, a teacher, and then somebody else. Say, "I was asked to do this. I am uncomfortable. What should I do?" You have 3 adults, so you can compare their answers. Look at them, see are they the same or different. And even if one adult doesn't help you, you've got 2 other adults. Even if you've done the thing before, the moment you decide you don't want to do this fun thing that is not fun for you, you can say, "I don't want to do this anymore." If they try to make you do it, if they say they know something bad you did and they'll tell, or that you already did it before and they'll tell, or that they did something nice for you so you have to do it, they are lying. You tell 3 adults,